All right. Thank you for coming on, Tonya and Charles. Thank you, Patreon supporters, for supporting me and what I do. Appreciate it. This will be another episode of, well, I call it Shooting the Shit. But we're not going to be shooting the shit because it's going to be a little more, not formal, but a little more important than just shooting the shit. I had Derek on, a good friend of mine, recently, and now I've got Tonya and her husband, Charles. And so it's a pleasure to meet you both. And so in light of the recent events that are going on in Minneapolis, I just wanted to talk to you all and get your perspective and your thoughts and your feelings. And I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate your willingness to do that. So I don't even know where you want to start, but how are you feeling this morning? Or actually where you're at probably this afternoon almost, huh?
We're feeling good. We're feeling good. We're at our ministry right now, and on Saturdays, what we do is we let the homeless come in and take showers and do laundry. So,
okay, at a church, at your home,
at church.
Okay.
Ministry.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I do a not something. I mean, we do a food program on Saturdays where we feed them at a church. We've got some thunderstorms today, so we actually got canceled. But yeah, well, I mean, how are you feeling in regards to the protests and all that's going on and George Floyd and the police? And I guess there was a recent third-degree murder charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'm not happy or sad. Very anxious to see the outcome. The sentencing didn't ever tell the tale, but even the third-degree charge with the evidence that's here, a third-degree murder charge. Michael Vick, they were in an uproar because he fought dogs and said he was inhumane. Yeah. But when police officers, mainly white police officers, kill black people, they're justified automatically. They're held out. As you see, this guy was held out here for a number of days before he was actually even arrested, not to mention charged, before he's arrested. And somehow they have to research the evidence when it comes to a police officer, but when it comes to a civilian, you automatically are picked up. Depends on the color of your skin, the DA, the justice system in that area, in that community, such as in Ahmaud Arbery's case, a whole 2 months, and the police were there and the DAs threw it away. So I'm not tired. I'm not angry. I'm not mad.
I'm tired.
Those are past tense. I've been there too long. Yeah. We're in active mode. And what you have been seeing there in Minnesota and what you're seeing across the country is actually, they're seeing looting, but they're not seeing a disenfranchised people. They're not seeing an abuse of centuries, of hundreds of years of disenfranchisement, systematic racism, systematic imperialism upon a people because of their color. Now, how can you get imperialism from the land of the free and home of the brave? Imperialism is only imputed upon people that they choose to. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we've been facing from this government. And me as a pastor, whatever they call me, I don't call myself a pastor, but I have 2 sons that are my color. It'll never last that long. Yeah. I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it. These guys that are rioting, they're not only black people, but they're white people, Hispanics. Those people have band together. Yeah. The people in the world have more power than the people that are leading them. The problem is we have relinquished our power and allowed them to lead us into destruction and out of our pockets and into their pockets.
Yep.
Big Pharma, Walmart, the corporation could stop the racism. That's why I don't feel sorry for the corporation. The stores that they're looting, those corporations like AutoZone or those major companies, they can stop the racism. All the money that the stimulus package went to, it went to those guys. We got the crumbs again.
True.
So those guys could stop it if they chose to. Those are the ones that are running the country. They could stop it. It's like a Gestapo thing. We keep them separated through religion, through racism, through socialism that they say they don't want to do. but this is what they're practicing. They practice socialism on their end. What is socialism? When you make sure everybody has a piece of the pie. All the rich guys are making sure all the rich guys eat.
That's a piece of pie. Yes.
They're making sure they eat well. While we're the ones standing down here, hearing their garbage and fighting over it as if they're throwing us a bone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recently heard a report that billionaires made somewhere upwards of like 200 billion since this COVID-19 thing.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
I'm not surprised though.
Wow. Wow.
But we the people, if we the people don't stand up, this country will continue to run us in the ground. They tell us what medicine we can have, what medicine we can't. They tell us what diseases we can have, what diseases we can't. They tell us everything because we have relinquished our power to a government that we thought were for us through Republican and Democrat. Birds of a feather
flock together.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the people who, and it's obviously typically white people right now, who are kind of using the name of Martin Luther King to kind of to pit the rioting side and the peaceful protest side? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
They really don't know the end time of Martin Luther King's life, because he changed his mind about a lot of things that they are quoting and the things that they believe. Because before his death, he started thinking totally different. He started thinking like, look, this country, they don't love us. You know, I've sent my people, what'd he say? He sent his people into a danger zone.
He said that
with this peaceful stuff.
He said he thought that he has led his people into a burning house.
Exactly.
Why? Because of all the peacefulness that he's tried to portray.
It didn't work.
It hasn't worked. They yet still killed us, still slaughtered us. They still ran over us. They still sicked their dogs on us. They still murdered us. They still hung us. And we were still trying to say peace, peace, peace.
No.
America was established and taken through violence, through death, through murder. So how can America be sustained unless it continues? Violence, murder, and death.
It just gotta happen.
From the powers that be.
Yeah.
Their power started on this.
Yeah. It's see, on the one hand, like peace is obviously what we're all hopefully all of us trying to achieve. It's just one of those things where, I don't know, when I think of peace, it's like, or when I think of violence, I don't think of necessarily someone getting pissed off and flipping tables like Jesus did in the temple, or people throwing stuff. Like, to me, it's like, well, I think you're missing the point if you're focused on the actions that are going, not what's underneath the actions.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I mean, it's not just black people or being violent. It's all colors, all races, probably all sexual orientations doing this. But it's like, if we're only focused on how rather than the why, then I think we're missing the point.
Right.
Right. And people people like to cherry pick the Bible. People like to cherry pick Martin Luther King too. I mean,
yep.
That's just what I've noticed.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, a lot of people, you know, thinking, okay, they got this guy. They charged this guy. I mean, that's not all that we want. We want the systematic racism thing to fall. This country has been created on a systematic racism. And that's the biggest problem. Even the judicial system, it's not equal. It's not equal at all.
No. We
don't want them to fix it. We want them to tear it down and start all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah. There's no fixing it.
No.
There's no fixing it.
It's like with religion. I mean, come on, you can't fix it. You got to tear this thing down.
They use religion. Religion here in America is just like the people that started America, what is now called America. If you notice, there's no name that this land was called until the Europeans got here. They hid the history. They killed the ones out that could actually tell the history, and they killed the ancestors so they could never repeat the history or even expose anyone else to the history before the Europeans came here.
Exactly.
The religion that they came over with and colonialized and murdered people and beat people into submission is a supremacist way of saying that because you're Muslim, you serve the wrong God. You are an enemy. And anyone that disagrees with us, we're going to murder them. We're going to blackball them. We're going to find so many ways to intimidate them that they will either conform or they will leave. That's why the tokens always said that if you don't like America, go back to Africa. I wasn't born in Africa.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
I'm an American.
Yeah. You know.
I'm an American by default.
Exactly.
So I understand this, and many people don't. I don't accept when people call me African American. I say, "Are you European American?" Right. No, I'm an American. So how do you find a tree for me to get under and take a piss?
Yes, even that with white Americans, they're called Americans, and everybody else that's outside of the white race or whatever, they're called, you know, African Americans, or what the Chinese, they're called, you know, Asian Americans. But the white Americans are the only one that is called American, and that's supremacist in itself.
As if they are native to this land.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, and to me, what I've sorry, what were you gonna say?
They are native to the system of America, but they're not native to this land that they chose and came over and mutilated people and stole and brought America. The South, they still say they need to keep the heritage of the South. How is it then that when the Indians lost, this land is now called America? When the Mexicans lost, this land is still called America. They kept some of the name, Chickasaw Trail or El Paso, Texas, but they removed the people, but they kept the name. So they looted everything from them and put their stamp on it. But how is it then that the South can still remain the Confederates and the Confederate sons of the South, and they lost the war?
They lost the war.
Only white people can let white people do that.
Yeah. And see, I'm starting to realize that whiteness is not even a thing. It's a concept, because my people, Sicilians, we were not white like 120 years ago. It was like in between black and white, and Sicilians were lynched under Jim Crow. They became white, and so it's like, wait, hold on, I still have Sicilian heritage, but if I was 120 years ago, I would have been called a Dago, the N-word, WAP. And now I'm white, so I'm good. So it's like, hold on. So then that kind of raises the question. Well, so whiteness is just this concept. It's just this power over concept. Which we got to get out of it. We got to get rid of, because it is a power over structure. That's all it is, and it changes with time.
Yeah.
You know, when Asians come here, you know what they go on the census as? White. When the Arabs come here from Iraq or Iran, they go on the census as white. The only someone comes over as black or African Americans or people from Africa or African descent. But all other races that come here that has a hue that's a little lighter than mine, they go on. If you're called any of them, they'll tell you when they're at their passport, they're listed as white. Or if they become citizens, they're listed as white. Like you said, it's a concept and a construct in which the supremacy mode is trying to not only dehumanize black people, but at the same time, there's no way Israel and Egypt, who's a part of the continent of Africa, how can the Israelis leave Israel and the country be destroyed, leave as black and Ethiopians, and come back looking just the same color as 45? And I don't say his name. And now they built a country and they're trying to kill the Palestinians right now. But yet it's taught here in white America that to pray for Jerusalem, and they're still funneling money into Jerusalem, but they charge you thousands of dollars through taxes. And Israel pay no taxes. But they cannot give reparations to black people that built this country, but they can pay Israel billions of dollars a year.
Exactly.
So how do we, this is, I don't know if you have 10 hours to talk. how do we tear it all down, and what do we build in its place? I mean, you mentioned the corporations can end racism. How does that happen? I mean, I know you probably don't have like a whole dissertation to give, but you know, so maybe some practical ways how people can maybe push that agenda forward.
This is why I tell you to push the agenda forward. Support what you believe in with your money, and what you don't believe in, don't support it. But in order to do that, you must stop some of your habits, because some of the people that you will have to stop supporting financially have what your habits want.
Yep.
So if you don't change your habits, you'll never change the power structure, because the power structure caters to the habits of the people systematically through mental telepathy. They'll get you mentally through the tale of vision. It tells a vision that you don't know that's actually controlling you systematically through your mind.
Exactly.
Through the media. They're painting things in the media. The media never showed to this day. Okay? They kept pushing when the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. James Earl Ray was the assassinator, the lone assassinator. Come to find out, James Earl Ray was never in the city of Memphis. He was in a whole nother state, hundreds of miles away. But they framed him, and he died saying, I was not the killer. The rifle that was shot, James Earl Ray never owned one. Where it was shot at, all of that, the tree was, I mean, it was evidence that was later went and destroyed the same day. My point is this here. The structure and the power that be, until the people recognize that we are humans. I'm not a black animal. I am a man with a darker color hue that they call black.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be who I am.
Yeah.
I've built what I have with the things God has blessed me with. I'll continue to do that. And not one person can change that. This is the thing, to transform the way we are, is to recognize a person of your color that you said that you, for whatever reason, crossbreeding, your skin is lighter now. Mm-hmm. Okay? But you still have ancestry connection there. Okay?
Oh yeah, that came up from North Africa, man. The Sicilians are Moorish, man.
That's what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm about to tell you. Okay? But now, if your skin has put you in a place to where you don't have to face what my skin does, are you going to trade your color of skin for mine? No, you're not. You're reaping the benefits.
I would, man. I mean, the part of me is like, yeah, I want to stand there with you, you know, but at the same time, you're like, hell no, you wouldn't.
You get my point?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
You can be guilty by default because you understand the truth, but refuse to stand up because of the comforts that you now enjoy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So until the rabbit gets the gun, people will keep living this way. But when the rabbit gets the gun, and through this here that they're seeing the violence that's going on, and there's other white people that are standing up and saying, wait a minute.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. These poor white people, and some that are not poor, that feel the way you do, that have been disenfranchised because of a socioeconomic system that is against them. And because they were born into poverty, now they are called white trash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if they ever come out of and get some money, now they can be among the elite.
And look down.
And look down upon the white trash, or they can go back and help transform the white trash. America is a place, if the only way to get them is hit their finances, if you could kill one of their children, but don't hit their finances, many of them will be okay.
Yeah.
But if you hit their finances, it devastates them. It destroys them if their finances hit. What are they protecting now? Finances.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what I don't know if you're familiar with Killer Mike. He's a rapper out of Atlanta. He's like, you need to support Black-owned, Black businesses that get their distribution from Black distributors, and I just love that. I was like, yeah, that's how you do it. You change where your money's going from, from place A to place B, and you put it right into the community instead of, but you're right. The comforts that we get from getting cheap shit from wherever, Walmart, Target, Amazon, it's like, okay, now it's okay. I got to make that ethical decision for myself, and it's going to force a lifestyle change.
Yes.
We have made them powerful by ignorance and our own self-greed.
Right.
Yeah.
We made them powerful.
I'm gonna stand right there.
We have made them powerful by default. Why? Because they showed us something and tickled the carrot before us as the rabbit, not knowing that they were only trying to get the rabbit to come out of the hole.
Yep.
Only to slaughter him for his fur and his meat. They cared nothing about the rabbit, but they cared what they could get from the rabbit. Many of the, if they cared about us, they would have never allowed this to happen. If Donald Trump cared about America, America would not be in shambles and the divided states of America right now. If the Republicans cared about America, rather than their power structure, and rather than going in, making $140,000 to $170,000 a year, to coming out $50 to $60 million richer off $170,000 a year salary. So where did the money come from? Why is not the IRS investigating them? Because if you come up with right now with an extra $10 million this year, and you can't give an account where you got it from, guess what they're going to do? They're coming at you. They're coming at you. So we've allowed this to happen without holding those that are taking welfare, that get welfare, which is every elected official are getting entitlements. And they're saying they're trying to cut out entitlement, or that we feel that we're entitled. Who takes more entitlements than the 560 some odd people that are in Congress?
Yeah.
But their entitlements are justified by their office. Their entitlements are justified by the rule of law, which they rule upon us. They rule unjustly against us.
Right, and then they say, well, we have to cut the entitlements because of the budget, but the entitlements for the common person are just crumbs compared to where the real money's at.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at the pie, it's a sliver. It's the tiniest sliver, and you're like, oh, we got to cut this. It's like, wait a second, what about this quarter of a piece of pie right here? That's a quarter of the pie.
Well, from 2003 to 2011, I believe, or 2013, there were $11 trillion, I think $9 or $11 trillion that the military cannot account for. Not $1 million, not $9-10 million, trillions.
And we can't fathom that money. That's a number that's above our ability to process.
So where did the money go? The money's there, but they have no record of where the money went. It's public knowledge. No record of where the money went. No record of who has the money. No record at all of where that money went to. But yet you want to come at me. IRS wants to come at me and take my property for $10,000 if you don't pay your taxes. But they can't go at the middle. So that tells me then there's a higher power structure, and we're steadily voting people in. We have not awakened yet. And when we awaken, they want to try to bomb us. The first time, the second time that we know of on record that they bombed America in America by the American institution of military, 21 in Oklahoma. Okay, I know you're familiar with that. Then again, I think in 1987 or 89, they bombed a black community in Philadelphia. The police did. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. No, I was only like 6.
Huh?
I was young then. I grew up in the 80s.
Okay.
That was before yeah.
It was a black community each time. It was a black community each time. So here we are. We've been taking these things and we've been operating in these things and having to deal with them with no rest at all. And you're told to do what? Forgive.
Yeah.
God's going to avenge you. God's going to deal with it. God is our keeper. God is our healer. Quote the scriptures. How often do you forgive your enemy? Not 7, but 7 times 70. But your enemy can still continue to kill you, rape you, pillage you, put you in throw you in prison for unjust laws, give you greater sentences than somebody across the track that had committed the same crime or greater crime, but you get a greater sentence. So black people are supposed to just do this. Just, Lord, we know you could. No.
Yeah.
They didn't do that when Iraq came. When they assumed that 9/11 happened because of the Iraqis, not Saddam Hussein, but Osama bin Laden.
Right.
And come to find out, they still can't prove that they even did it. Now they said that it was orchestrated from the CIA within America. So my point is, we're here now, and if you and I don't, when they get through killing, if they kill off all the black people, just suppose, hypothetical, what if all the black people just left and did go to Africa and start another country? Or what if they just said, wait a minute, we're gonna let you guys have a third of America, okay? Or a quarter of America. We're gonna let you guys have the East Coast, because the East Coast is about to fall, or the West Coast is about to fall in the ocean. So they're gonna ship us to California, let us have the West Coast, okay? Now,
we got good weed, so you can come on over.
So if we did that, guess who you think they're gonna start killing next? If they don't have us to kill no more, guess who you think they're gonna start killing next? They're gonna start going down the bloodline. Who's actually the original people who started this country? Europeans. And if you ain't a European, you don't have European descent, and you ain't in real good with them, they're gonna start targeting you next. Why? Because the poor people, the black people that they was targeting, they can't target no more. Mm-hmm. They're off limits now. Now they gotta have somebody else to make their money off of.
Oh, there's always got to be a scapegoat, and that's exactly it. Yeah.
That's my point. Now the straw man is this here, in my opinion. Donald Trump is a straw man.
Sure.
Why did I say Donald Trump straw man? Donald Trump is a straw man because those are the billionaires that are operating around Donald Trump that are using him to pass their agenda along. They knew who Donald Trump was before they pulled Donald Trump in. They knew that Donald Trump had over 20 some odd allegations of sexual misconduct, rape. They knew what Donald Trump's record is. They already done the research. They didn't care. They're telling you, they're telling the world that this is who they want, how they want America run now. And if we will not rebel against it and accept it, America will be transformed into a fascist society up front. That's why he loves totalitarianism. Why? Because the people that undergird him love totalitarianism. His base loves totalitarianism. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't support it.
Yeah. Yeah, and while at the same time claiming we need freedom and this and that and all this, and it's like, well, he threatens to shut Twitter down, and people are like, yeah, and it's like, wait a second, I thought you were the conservatives who love the freedom of speech and the First and Second Amendment, and you're like, no, but our guy's doing it, so now we jump on the fascist train. It's like, wow, it just blows my mind, the cognitive dissonance.
Well, to say it's cognitive dissonance, it is for some.
Sure.
But within their heart, they know what this is about.
Yes.
But because they have no other direction to go, they choose to accept that one because they think this one here has protected us over the years. When you can find the evangelical leader, Graham, who's totally opposite of his father. Totally opposite of his father.
Yeah.
When there's records of them being in Russia in 2014, 2013, and 2012, and 2015, before the election.
Yes.
Donald Trump was groomed for this.
Yes.
When it's records to show, FBI has records to show that they were there in the Kremlin. We're having these meetings. Franklin Graham. Russia is a communist country. But Franklin Graham believes in freedom of liberty, freedom of expression. He believes in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He believes in, and if you ask God to come into your heart, but you are cooperating, and they preach and say that they're the infidels, the Muslims that practice Sharia law, and they're worried about Sharia law coming to America, but they won't stop doing business with Saudi Arabia,
Right.
who practice Sharia law.
Yes.
So is that not an oxymoron?
Yeah. It's hypocrisy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm being nice because I know other people listen to this. I'm being nice.
He really is.
My followers don't care. We're good.
Oh, Matthew, look,
I'm being
follow
nice.
Matthew. Matthew don't care.
I'm being nice.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
So here we are. We go to the scripture that when Barack Obama was in, when every time a Democrat's in, a conservative evangelical come in and said, "Oh, when the wicked is in, the nation mourn. But when the righteous rule, a nation rejoices." We want to rejoice, oh Lord. We want to rejoice. But now we've got he said he's a nationalist, confessed nationalist. He thinks that people that are toting Nazi signs around and chanting, "We will not be replaced." We still celebrate Holocaust in America when I suppose America had nothing to do with the Holocaust of the Jewish people. But you tell black people to get over slavery. And it was done here in America. And you're still benefiting from it. And black people are still suffering from 400 years of oppression.
Yes.
Here in America, you gave the Japanese, after you let them out of the prison, doing Pearl Harbor concentration camp, you turn around and gave them money. But you still say, you fight tooth and nail to not give black folks one dime.
We still hadn't got our 400 acres or a mule. 40 acres and a mule. We still ain't got it.
Let me tell you what they did with the 40 acres and a mule. I'm sure you already know what they did with the 40 acres and a mule. They comprised it. They brought over more Europeans. You can go do the research on it. Brought over more Europeans, or the ones that were here. They moved them out Midwest. They said, you guys can go out Midwest. There's land out there. You guys can become farmers, and you can have thousands of acres of land out there.
They gave it to them, man.
We run the Indians off.
Yes.
It's going to be cold out there during the winter time, but if you do your crops right, we're going to put up colleges out there called land grant colleges. And we're going to teach you guys how to farm that land because we run the Indians off. We killed them. And so we're not going to give it to the niggers. We're not going to give it to them. They're not even human. We're going to keep using them and chattel slavery. We're going to keep using them, but we're going to do it through a system. But we're going to send you guys out there, and you guys are going to be the ones that provide all the food for us. And we're going to teach you how to do it. We're going to give you land, and we're going to send millions of dollars out there rather than give the black people an opportunity of land of the free, home of the brave, because land of the free, home of the brave, black people were not included. Indians were not included. Mm-hmm. Nobody was included if you were not of European descent.
Exactly.
You slid in. You slid in.
You slid in, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah, you slid in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now all we've done with slavery is we've changed the game a little bit. We strip people of their rights if they get incarcerated, and we start incarcerating black folks at a higher rate for crime. Right. And so then we just shifted the goalposts a little bit. But you didn't really end slavery. We just moved it. We just changed the language. We just made it a little more subtle.
Yes. You're right, yes. Matthew.
You have black people in America being 48 million, and there's over 360 million.
Yeah. Cool.
So we're probably, 40 and 300. We're not even a fifth, probably a sixth of the population.
Right.
Okay. Well, we're the eighth of the population. Yeah. We're eighth of the population. But out of being an eighth of the population, everything that's negative go to black people.
Yep.
Everything that's negative go to black people. Now watch this now. I don't buy it anymore. You know why? Because when the oppressor tells me the ones that set up the system can manipulate the system. Mm-hmm. And if you keep listening to them, then they'll keep controlling you. Okay?
Controlling the way you act.
And they'll control the way you act.
Control the way you act.
Black people have the highest blood pressure. I quit eating their food. Guess what? I don't have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
I quit taking their medicine. Guess what? I don't have high blood pressure. I'm not sick. I quit taking their medicine. So if you listen to the ones that are in charge, they're going to tell you whatever so they can what? Stay in charge.
And control.
And control.
And control.
And guess what? If I don't, they're going to find a way to actually make me look like the victim as if I'm radical. But you have 100 or 50 white men march into Lansing, Michigan,
into the Capitol,
stand on the stairs with their guns, their fatigues, stand up on the balconies
in the police face
and shout down to the legislatures and threaten them with their voices. No arrests are made. Now they go to the mayor in Kentucky and walk by his house that close to his window. He said, I saw the video. He says they came on the lawn. They walked beyond the barricades, the first barricade. They got beyond the next barricade, and they walked right by where my children would normally sleep, but my children were not up at home at that time. And then they go another 100 yards away from my house and put up an effigy and hang it from a tree with my face on it.
And nothing was done.
Nothing was done.
Nothing was done.
The young lady that put Donald Trump's head, I can't remember her name, she's a white lady.
Griffith?
Yes, Griffith. Yeah. Griffith. She put his head, a severed head, and had Donald Trump's face with blood all over. They fired that lady, and I understand why they did that. But here it is, we're on the lower level, still an official, state official. But now understand this. That would be looking for charges if a black man would have done that. More legislation would be in place. Why? We can't that's too close for comfort there. They got too much power. But now, it is totally too late. Yeah. You can't put this one, you let Jack out the box, you can't get Jack back in the box now.
Yeah. You can't put him back in the box now.
You can't get Jack back in.
That's what's going on.
We're sitting on power kids. As black people, we're sitting on power kids.
The sleeping giant has been awakened. Yep. I mean, that's all it is.
Economically, we're going to build our own fortress again. Socially, we're going to fix our issues in our community.
Got to.
We're going to put codes in our community.
Yes.
We're going to build our infrastructure as black people. We're going to shop with black people. We're going to get this system that's been put in our head out. And we're working, we're systematically now to retransform and reconfigure the mind and the structure of the mind.
Yes.
From the place of slavery, from the place of hate, from the place of self-hate. Many people self-hate and don't know they self-hate.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on.
But we've been taught that. Many people brutalize themselves because guess what? That's all they ever saw themselves happen to them was brutalization.
Like the girl said, we learned it from you.
You know?
That video you tagged me in, that was powerful. I had chills.
Yeah, we learned it from you. If you want us to do better, you do better.
Yeah. I'm a threat because I never self-hated myself. I'm a threat to the system.
Yes.
Martin Luther King was a threat to the system when he recognized.
Malcolm X
was a threat. Medgar Evers was a threat. Everything that was a threat to H. Rap Brown was a threat. Marcus Garvey was a threat. Everything that was a threat to
the
white
Black Panthers
to the white system
was a threat.
They figured out a way to snuff it out, to frame it, to try to demoralize it, to kill it, and to put down the uprising. But it's okay if they uprise as long as you don't.
Yeah. But now it's like you said, Jack's out of the bag or Jack's out of the box. I mean, you know, it's like this is where we're at now.
You know,
and it's up to the white people pretty much to carry the load. It's up to the white people to carry the load to deal with racism.
Yeah. So how real quick before I have my other call, how do white people do that without coming across or being a white knight savior sort of figure? Because that's not the answer either.
Right.
So
Well,
how does the white person be the right kind of ally without being like, hey, I'm here to save black folks, you know, everyone step aside, the white person's here.
no. You can't save black people. Black people have to save themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
It's what he's doing now.
You can do, if you don't want what's being done to me, then you fall out of agreement when you see it done to me and stand up and say, wait a minute. There are people, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not accepting it. I'm not getting in that system. I'm not going to acknowledge the system. I won't even vote for someone. I won't even vote for you, although that other person over there is worse than you, but because you think those people are less than you and you have a system that's want to destroy them, that could be me. It's their day now, but what about my grandchildren if they ever wake up?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they gonna wake
In
up.
other words, you can sow a seed now that can last 100 years or into 200 years of your in your seed, your lineage, because I'm sure if you don't have children, you're probably going to make children sooner or later.
You got a daughter, don't you?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure what's happening now to the black community, you wouldn't want to happen to your great grandchildren. Although you wouldn't know anything about it, you can set it up now like generational wealth is established.
Yeah.
That it reciprocates itself. You can set up a lifestyle now that your granddaughter what's being dealt up upon us doesn't have to be reciprocated upon her, because the tides, they're going to change. They're going to turn.
Yeah.
Rome was destroyed from within. America is being destroyed from within.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So last thing, can you, if you don't know, or if you do, that'd be great, give me a link that maybe people can, is there like an online place where people can shop that supports black communities, that like I don't want to say an alternative to Amazon, because I know we're not local with each other, so I know but the people that listen aren't local to me either. So if there's like some sort of Amazon type place that supports specifically,
go to shopblack.com.
shopblack.com. Yes, I would encourage my listeners to do that then.
Black vegan.
Yeah.
Black vegan. You can find it on Instagram.
Okay.
There's several things. You just type shopblack.com, blackvegan.com, or buyblack.com. You can pretty much just tap in that. It's going to give you a whole plethora of things.
Perfect.
From vitamins to nutrients, to food, to clothing, to people that do business. We have a conglomerate here in Tupelo. I can't think of the name of that I'm a part of. That is a black conglomerate that do business together. You know, are we trying to disenfranchise white people? No, we want to build up our community.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Chinese build up theirs, and they shop Chinese if they got it.
Yeah.
You know, this is what he said.
And give black businesses a chance. Give black people a chance to have black businesses, or just businesses in general.
Yeah.
Don't stop it.
Martin Luther King said he thought he went too far. He said he didn't want to segregate or desegregate. That wasn't the issue. The issue was for us to be treated equal. We were being taxed, but no representation. Okay. He said toward the end, because of trying to segregate, and we did segregate, that the things black people were being exposed now, because black people had honor before they segregated.
Yes.
We had honor in our community before the segregation. Well, our black schools were teaching black education. They were teaching our heritage. They were teaching our history and our culture. And when we came over, they stopped teaching it. We had now to tote the water of white people, so to speak. We had to conform to everything that they wanted to do. They didn't allow many black teachers to come over. Okay, they made it even harder, created a system that's harder for black people to get in. The pay was even totally different during segregation. And even when the black teachers came over. So how could you continue to do something that you couldn't even make a living from? Right. Our black colleges were underfunded. Many black colleges were created and white people established and helped establish them because they didn't want the blacks in their schools. Okay, so here we are. He later seen it and he thought about it. He said, I think I've done my people an injustice. I think I've sent them now into a burning house.
Yes. And
so he tried to figure out, started to do things differently to reaffirm the people, but yet reassess and readdress, redirect the people. And that's when the time they killed it.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, white people have their culture. Their country clubs, they don't want black people in them. You're suing to get in it. I don't want to sue to get in nobody's house. But if you're going to tax me and tax them, give us the same taxation.
Yes.
Give us the same representation. You can do whatever you want to do. But if you're going to tax me, I need the same representation that you give them in their community. As far as coming back and fixing their roads, I need you to fix them in mine. The sewer lines, I need you to fix them in mine like you're going to fix them, because all of our tax dollars are paying those. And so it's been uneven, unfair. So my point is this here. I have no problem with, this is a problem I have. People that call themselves my friends but haven't showed up, I'm deleting a lot of them from my Facebook page. I don't have time for the crap.
And a lot of our friends that post the looting, but is not outraged at what happened with the police had done, I don't even communicate with them anymore. Delete them. I mean, we gotta stand up. Everybody gotta stand up.
I don't know you. 90% of the people that come here to our ministry for showers and the homeless,
they're white.
They're white people.
Yeah.
We don't serve them because they're white people or because they're black people. We serve them because this is a service to humanity.
That's right.
And that's where I stand.
Yeah. Well,
I don't treat them any differently. They don't get any special treatment.
Yep.
But whoever comes here, we serve them because we want to help them. We are a source and a service in our community that we pay for. So I'm not playing the games here. And I don't have time with people that do play their games. Their religious games, their political game, you have that. Because we're the only ones that can save our community. I try to be the change that I want to see.
Exactly.
That's all I try to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I will. What's that?
I said thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to do the right thing, you know? I don't know.
I mean, that means a lot that you are concerned or even want to know how we feel as a Black culture. And that's awesome. Because a lot of times that's all we want people to do. Listen and understand.
Yeah. Yeah, white folks need to do a lot more listening, a lot less talking.
Listen, we could tell you.
You know, stop being Captain Save a Day or Save a Hoe. Stop trying to be Save a Day or Save a Hoe or Save a Nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to be, because
Captain Save a Nigga.
Yeah, I'm Captain Save a Nigga. I'm gonna save this nigga here because he don't know which direction he going. He wrong. I mean,
exactly.
His theology is totally off. So I'm gonna go save him and show him how to get to Christ. Yeah. No,
come on.
I was born in God. I wasn't separated from God. God never separated himself from it.
Exactly.
If he separates from it, he's the existence of life itself. I'll die.
Yeah, there you go.
So no, I don't need that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I'll hit you with a link when I can upload this. Okay. I appreciate it. It was nice to meet you and nice to talk. You had amazing things, and I'm sure the people listening, I hope they will resonate with that and take action. If you're listening, check out those links. I'll put them in there, and I'm gonna check them out too and start diverting my shopping elsewhere. So I appreciate that.
How's your rap album going?
It's slow. It's slow. We can't go anywhere out here. We're still in lockdown. So
yeah, I'm
working on everything at home. So
okay.
Drop something. Let me spit something. Let me hear it.
Oh, not right now. Not right now. I'm not ready.
Give me a freestyle.
No, I don't freestyle. I don't know how folks freestyle, man. I can't do that. I haven't practiced though, to be fair.
Hey, let me share this with you. Confidence, courage, and wisdom.
Yeah.
Always exercise your confidence. Then what's in you will come forth. You just got to have the courage to release it.
Yeah.
The power of the human mind is phenomenal.
Man.
Confidence. You don't have the confidence to. If you had the confidence, you just start spinning right now. When I told you,
hip hop, don't stop.
I would. This is all new to me. I've written 5 books. I can talk about my books all day long, but this is all new.
Oh yeah.
I got to get.
Rap about what you wrote, D.
By what I wrote? Okay, I will. Spent my first 25 trapped in church culture, fending off the vultures. Then you damn right I became too. I called them all on this shit. It was fucking sulfur. Like King James, I broke away and the game was over. Cross the fuck over. I guess it was by divine design. But I'm like a fine red wine. I only get better with time. I spit my rhymes, smoke green, and chill on cloud 9. And yeah, you hating, but motherfucker, you in decline. You need to rewind and press pause on this bitch. I'm Harry Kane with a hat trick. I'll run you off of this pitch.
Go ahead, man.
See?
Go ahead, man.
But I don't know how people freestyle, man. I still haven't got that.
But see, how did you write?
You just feel it. It just comes to you.
That's the same
I
way.
know. I know.
So rap what comes to you.
So you write freestyle.
Just
Yeah.
like you wrote rap what comes to you. You just rap what came to you, but you wrote it down the left. Now go back and freestyle and feel the energy flow.
Yeah. I'm going to have to do that. But I got to get going right now because I'm late to my next one.
All right, Matthew,
Thank you so much,
send me
man.
those
I
links.
appreciate it. Yeah, I will. For sure.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to hit this stop.